the controversial discovery that's either a devious hoax or, some believe, could shatter everything we thought we knew about life on Earth. We travelled to Peru, chasing claims of a mystery buried for 1,000 years.
These apparent creatures originating from a site filled with ancient mystery.
Now you can make your own judgment. We're told some of these alleged mummified remains you'll see today have never been seen before. Small, strange, and some experts claim non-human. Are these ancient relics an elaborate hoax, or could they be evidence of extraterrestrial life? We've got exclusive access, new analysis, and explosive reactions from scientists, skeptics, and believers. Are these alien mummies? If this is real, history books get rewritten. Religions are questioned and humanity gets a wake-up call from the cosmos. The question is no longer, are we alone? It's, have they been here all along? Today, Reality Check with Ross Coulthart, Ancient Mummy Mystery. G'day and welcome to this special edition of Reality Check on News Nation. I'm your host, Ross Coulthart. Today we're exploring an ancient mystery that puts the question of whether we humans are the only intelligent life in the universe front and centre. Grave robbers, known locally in Peru as huequeros, claim to have stumbled upon desiccated bodies in a remote location north of the Nazca Desert, so-called tridactyl three-fingered beings. These purported tridactyl mummies present as supposedly intact beings, three-fingered, three-toed, with elongated skulls, large eye sockets, and bodies coated in a white, powdery, diatomaceous earth made out of a natural preservative from old algae. Now, they've been dubbed the Nazca mummies. Now, it's probably a bit confusing to call them the Nazca mummies because they are, in fact, a range of beings. First up, there are small reptilian-like beings. Then there are, believe it or not, insectoid beings with wings, ranging right through to larger humanoid beings. They quickly gathered global imagination. Were they evidence of a pre-existing extraterrestrial civilization, or are they just an elaborate and devious hoax? We visited Peru to see firsthand and up close multiple sets of bodies that some claim to be definitive proof of not only that aliens have visited this planet, but they've been here for centuries. We set out to investigate these claims, and there are, as we've discovered, good reasons to be highly sceptical. But we do believe that whatever these objects are, they do warrant rigorous, independent scientific investigation. My recent trip to Peru took us to the skies to investigate the mysterious Nazca lines. These vast ancient geoglyphs carved into the earth thousands of years ago form precise shapes of animals, plants and geometric patterns so large they can only be properly seen from the air. Which brings us to an obvious question. Why would a society without flight technology take the time to craft such a display? Nazca is the site of much mystery which challenges our modern understanding, and it's the location of the first set of mysterious so-called tridactyl mummies, which I saw during my reporting trip. This particular set have been seen before, and they inspire heated, frothing debate between advocates and debunkers, starting with this, a highly controversial hearing that took the world by storm.
Mexico holds its first ever hearing on UFOs, with scientists putting on display what they claim are the remains of two extraterrestrials.
It's extraordinary claims and extraordinary controversy from Mexico City in 2023, where lawmakers were shown what some claim are the remains of extraterrestrial beings. But what's fact and what's fiction? Journalist and ufologist Jaime Maussan brought two small bodies into a packed congressional hearing on UAPs. These shriveled specimens, about a foot tall, with large heads and three-fingered hands, were presented in glass boxes. They are supposedly 1,000-year-old non-human beings, not related to any known Earth species.
Porque es lo más importante que le ha pasado a la humanidad.
It is the most important thing that has happened to humanity because it's the opportunity for us to evolve, for us to grow, for us to maybe initiate communication with other intelligences. I think this phenomenon is the only one that gives us the opportunity to come together.
Maussan told lawmakers the bodies were found buried in Peru, and that initial tests showed unusually high percentages of unknown DNA. "We are not alone," he declared in the chamber. But Maussan himself is no stranger to controversy.
I was questioning whether these alien babies that Mexico has released photos of could really be real.
So, it's okay to chuckle, okay? I think the way that it was presented was theatrical. It was a big mistake. This was not ready for prime time, but it was not the right way to do it. Suppose this is real. I mean, they come out with kind of like coffins and bring them out, and Jaime Maussan's an acquaintance of mine, but I'll just say this, Jaime is like a showman. And I've never known him to hoax anything, okay, but he'll promote anything. He won't question anything, and so he's not the objective person I would have had come out to reveal this.
Scientists and forensic experts are skeptical, pointing out that specimens touted by Maussan in the past turned out to be human remains. Other international researchers say the so-called alien bodies are fabricated or modified human mummies rather than extraterrestrials.
There is a lot of skepticism here about whether these are real, whether this is legitimate. We ourselves can't verify any of this, so we are skeptical about what we're seeing here in News Nation when it comes to the origins of these things in this video. Nonetheless, these displays were a part of a legitimate Mexican congressional hearing. Ryan Graves, the former Navy pilot who actually testified before the U.S. Congress back in July, he was also there sharing his story and his experiences with UAPs.
Greetings. Thank you for convening this public hearing.
When Ryan Graves testified, he said, in part, "To understand these phenomena, we need to collect information. Because all phenomena in the airspace are reported, they are not isolated. They are routine. Both military and commercial pilots recognise and officially report these. Investigating these phenomena is really important. We also collect a lot of data that solves these mysteries, and this is a global phenomenon. So collaboration is important." Shortly after giving that speech, Graves distanced himself from the hearing, calling it a stunt. He posts on X, "Unfortunately, yesterday's demonstration was a huge step backwards for this issue.
My testimony centred on sharing my experience and the unidentified aerial phenomena reports I hear from commercial and military aircrew through ASA's witness program, read his statement. I will continue to raise awareness of UAP as an urgent matter of aerospace safety, national security and science. But I am deeply disappointed by this unsubstantiated stunt. Mexican doctors did perform X-rays on the remains of the alleged aliens. They say the supposed alien corpses have one single skeleton and were not assembled or manipulated. Many scientists dispute the claim these are non-humans, and the Peruvian government says they are pre-Hispanic objects. While the presentation excited UFO enthusiasts, Mexico's government did not officially declare these as proof of alien life.
Giorgio, you say that you used to ride your mountain bike over there.
But as any journalist should do, I wanted to see for myself.
Now, as an investigative journalist myself, I've been intrigued by the reports about these so-called tridactyl mummies. And because I was travelling to Peru for a trip to the megalithic ruins, I took the opportunity to take side trips while I was there to go and see the 3 sets of remains that were available for viewing. This is what we found. Oh, so we can't go in?
No, we have to steal. That's why there is a
okay.
bureaucratic
Okay.
process. It's happened a few times. Yeah, absolutely.
So let's focus on Maria. What can you tell me about Maria, Professor?
¿Qué me podría decir acerca de María, profesor?
Mire, equivocadamente le estábamos denominando María. Ahora, de acuerdo al examen sexual o de sexo, se ha llegado a la conclusión de que es Mario, es macho.
But we finally discovered that she would have to be Mario.
Oh, she's a male.
Sí, Mario. Ven la cabeza elongada, como dijimos, ¿no? La cabeza larga. No hay pabellón auricular.
No earlobe.
Los ojos son tremendos, o sea, la cuenca ocular demasiadamente grande. Tenemos una nariz pequeña.
And a very small nose.
The suggestion is that this being is the result of hybridization. Somebody manipulated its DNA artificially to create this being. This intrigues me because that is obviously, it looks like a different species from this species. Is it?
Completamente. Por lo que he visto, por lo menos tenemos unos 5 o 6 especies.
As we have seen, as of today, we have seen like about 5 or 6 different species.
5 or 6 different species.
Definitivamente.
And is one of these reptilian?
Esta es la que pensamos que son las
So this
reptilianas.
is Albert.
Sí.
And why do you say it's reptilian? What are the features that make it reptilian?
Por todas las características que tiene.
Besides the larger head in relation to the body, they have scales.
Scales?
Scales, like a reptilian scale.
Ahora, estos no tienen como tienen el humano tibia, peroné, ni cúbito, ni radio. Son solamente una sola pieza.
The peroné bone, the cubit bone, they do not have those bones.
Forgive me, I am a natural skeptic. I look at Albert and I think it looks artificial. It looks like a doll. Could it have been a real creature? It looks barely plausible as a living being.
Nosotros hicimos el examen de Albert.
We analyzed Albert.
Sí, le hemos hecho una ventana en la cabeza.
And open a window on the skull.
En el cuerpo, o sea, en el intercostal derecho.
On the right intracostal rib.
Cuando hicimos el corte, son tejidos, ¿no? Son tejidos. Y cuando
And we found tissues.
hicimos una ventana, encontramos que tiene masa encefálica.
And when we opened the skull, we found brain mass.
Y en el costal derecho hay un órgano parecido al hígado.
And on the right side of the rib, intercostal opening, we found an organ that resembles the liver.
Llevamos al laboratorio de la UNI.
We took the samples to the National University of Engineering, which is a very serious university, by the way. And they found that it was organic material, not as the detractors were saying that it is made of wool, it's filled with carton. No, it was organic.
Are there any implants in any of these beings?
Que María, no lo hemos visto, María dice que tiene.
Some of the other samples have several implants, some of them with gold, some of them more with copper, etc. These ones we know, for example, Maria has an implant in the sacrum, inside the bone. It seems that she has an implant in the sacrum.
And you mentioned Albert had an implant.
También parece que tiene por la pierna.
Yes, and Albert seems to have an implant by the hip, or the femur.
La unión del sacro con el fémur.
Yeah, at the joint of the sacrum and the femur.
Is there resistance from the Peruvian government to help get to the bottom of what these beings are?
Demasiado. Yo no sé cuál es la intención, pero demasiado.
Yes, there is plenty.
Hemos
I don't know
sufrido
their intentions, but there are plenty.
acoso constante, ¿no?, de querer llevarse estos cuerpos.
Yes, there has been plenty of harassment. They have tried to take them away several times. And I don't know why, because the government doesn't have the personnel, doesn't have the equipment, while the university can sign agreements with other universities, with laboratories, etc. So I don't know why this is happening.
Can we ask the professor, who or what do you think is behind this, these pressure tactics? Because the Peruvian government could benefit immensely from tourism, controlled tourism, to see these beings, once the studies have been conducted.
Siempre me pregunto eso, ¿quién? ¿De dónde viene
That's
todo
what I
esto?
also ask myself. I don't know where that opposition is coming from.
Habría que ver de dónde. Pero lo cierto es que
I was also suspicious of their intent. Maybe we thought that they wanted to disappear the ones that are here in front of us. But since then, I mean, many more bodies have appeared. And now also the little ones, the small ones, even more. We've learned that there are even more of those bodies.
What do you say to people around the world? I think most people around the world have read news stories telling them that these are just fake objects. What do you say to those people?
Miren, quiero darles a ellos.
They're completely delicate bodies. If we wanted to add a phalange to them or an extra finger or change them like that, they would break. We have been sued because of these, falsely sued, accusing us of modifying bodies and stuff. You can see for yourselves the head, the characteristics. When you analyze the CT scans carefully, people that know, they will find that they are organic, integral beings.
Final question, sir. If these are real, obviously the implications are huge for humanity. Would it be fair to say that your biggest fear is that this may continue to be suppressed history?
Bueno, yo ya no creo en eso.
There are other discoveries that are perhaps complementing, I would say, what we are seeing here with the bodies. For example, this craft flying around in the atmosphere that are being discussed more openly nowadays. And maybe these bodies would corroborate that we have been visited also in the past.
So what can we do to assist you to get further investigation to confirm that hybridization?
Bueno, la ayuda la están haciendo ustedes.
Yes, by letting know about the existence of these beings that humanity has the right to know.
Do you worry about the ridicule and stigma that is attached to talking about UFOs?
Bueno, no, más bien me complace eso.
It pleases me that those findings are perhaps correlating with these ones. And it makes me wonder why the similar beings have been seen and depicted in different parts of the world as well.
Well, it's good science to ask the question, sir. So thank you so much for showing these to us. Now, the proponents argue, of course, that these are authentic, ancient beings, perhaps tied to the Paracas culture's skull elongation practices, supported by international experts like forensic scientist Dr. John McDowell and a Mexican forensic doctor, Dr. Zalche Benitez. These doctors, working for the Mexican team, claim there's seamless anatomical integration in the scans. There's no cut marks, no fabrication, and there's ongoing research that dismisses debunking as incomplete. But hold on, such extraordinary claims require rigorous, independent scientific investigation. And so just in the last month or so, very legitimate criticisms have been raised about the authenticity of these objects that do raise, I think, very serious doubts. Bioanthropologists and radiologists argue that these are elaborate hoaxes pieced together from pre-Hispanic human remains, outrageously, and animal bones, including bits of llamas, even modern synthetics. Now, the Peruvian Ministry of Culture has repeatedly tried to seize many of these objects, labelling them as fraudulent constructions desecrating ancestral graves. There was a 2023 airport interception in Peru of dressed figurines that showed they were constructed from glue and mixed parts, although proponents said they were never intended to be represented as real objects, they were just replicas. But first, let's investigate these other alleged ancient beings firsthand. Imagine you're in Lima, Peru, as we are, and somebody tells you, would you like to come and see an alien? Now, obviously we don't know that they are aliens, but we are on our way to a secret location somewhere here in this enormous city to have a look at some tridactyl beings with 3 fingers, elongated heads that may or may not be alien beings. Now, my first instinct, of course, is to be dismissive and think very skeptically that this is all a load of nonsense. But for months now, in fact for years, the official story has been that these beings are just hoaxes, that they're just dolls made of, in some cases, human and animal bones and put together and made to look like alien beings. But there's been a body of evidence come out now, including a reputable forensic science team from America and Peruvian scientists who've done a lot of work now looking at both DNA analysis and CT, CAT scan analysis of some of these bodies. And what they've found is really quite amazing. These bodies do appear to be real beings of some kind. And not only are they not human, they have elongated heads, they have, in some cases, there's one that has eggs in her belly. She was pregnant, but she had reptilian eggs in her belly. If this is all true, we may be looking at the possibility that we're on our way to see a highly advanced life form that once used to exist on this planet. Another fantastic mystery on the road with Reality Check. Well, here we are at an undisclosed location somewhere in Lima, Peru, and we're about to see what the hosts tell us may well be alien beings.
What I wonder is whether these specimens, is that what we call them? Whether they're going to actually eventually be moved to the university in Ica for, you know, the sort of scrutiny and study that other bodies are currently undergoing.
It's a measure, though, apparently, of the sensitivity of this, even now with the Peruvian Ministry of Culture. They're worried about these getting taken back off them. So we're not allowed to know where this location is. We're not allowed to reveal where this location is.
We've been told nothing.
But The simple fact is they're concerned that good science may be hindered by an official unwillingness for this story to be told.
That's right.
Let's go and have a look.
Let's go see.
Hello, hey Joa, how are you? Nice to see you.
Dr. David.
G'day, good to meet you. I'm Ross Coulthart. Nice to meet you, sir.
Igualmente. Hola, buenas tardes.
Igualmente.
Looks human to me.
Disculpa, pero parece humano. ¿Le parece humano?
Could it be a human hybrid?
¿Podría ser un humano híbrido?
Sagittal suture.
Maybe.
So what is different between that and a human?
¿Cuál es la diferencia entre eso y un humano?
So tridactyl,
All have
yeah.
three fingers.
Y esos son tres dedos obviamente originales.
And these are obviously three original three fingers.
No tiene mutilación.
So fingers or feet.
Without mutilation.
So those are feet, yes.
Those are feet.
Yeah.
Es porque le hayan deformado el cráneo por fuera.
But for example, the size of the body of this 2 or 3 year old is too small in relation to the head to say that the cranium, the skull has been elongated artificially.
So this is the skull is unusually elongated, yes?
O sea que el cráneo está inusualmente alargado.
Claro. Sí. El proceso de elongación toma varios años.
Plus, the elongation of the skull process takes several years when it's artificially done.
Because that was my next question, is that I know that in previous civilizations in this part of the world, there was a practice of elongating skulls, which of course may well have been replicating. If this is a species prior to that period, it may have endeavored to replicate that. But how do we know that the elongation we see on this skull is not a result of artificial practices?
Este niño recién tiene 2 a 3 años.
Because the artificial process requires a compressing of the cranium.
And so you can see that. You can see that.
And that's not happening here. And it takes several years. And this little boy had probably 2 or 3 years of age, so he wouldn't have been able to complete the.
Are any of the beings that you have possession of, do any of them have artificial implants?
And this one does have 2 or 3 implants.
So what's...
Acá.
Gosh.
En la nuca.
What was the purpose of the implant?
Bueno, ahí tendremos que estar especulando.
Then we would need to speculate about it.
Right.
That's right.
Bien. El de la nuca de acá.
The one on the neck.
Suponemos que estaba tratando de retener el cuello porque tiene una lesión cervical severa.
We suppose that he was trying to protect the neck because the being has a severe lesion on the neck, in the neck.
A fracture or just a wound?
Severa.
A fracture. Oh, so cervical fracture. Okay. But then, Doctor, if they're not fakes, what are they?
Son las tomografías de los cuerpos físicos que vas a ver ahora.
They're the CT scans of the physical bodies that you will see now.
Oh, let's see them. So, Doctor, we know that this is about a 2-year-old child. Is that correct? This
is un niño de 2 años,
prácticamente. Sí, pero un niño de 2 años no tiene la cabeza tan larga.
But a 2-year-old doesn't have that kind of.
So can you explain to our audience, obviously some of it's obvious, but please just point out what are the anatomical differences between a regular human child and what we are seeing here?
Primero, quisiera que nos enfoquemos en los ojos.
First, let's focus our attention on the eyes.
Si miras el ojo, por favor, mira este ojo.
Yeah.
Ojo.
Look at the eye.
Tiene una inclinación de 45 grados.
It has a 45-degree slant.
Quiere decir, el tendón cantal interno está.
Okay, this tendon, the external one is too high up.
Wow. And so
the internal one is too low.
And the nose is almost flat.
Can you explain to us the auditory organs or functions of this being? Does it have any?
Because it has no ears.
No tiene orejas.
Yes, it doesn't have ears.
No tiene orejas acá, visibles, y tampoco tiene indicios de oreja en la tomografía.
And also, In the CT scan, it doesn't have signs that it had an ear.
No ear canal.
Does it have the same organs as humans?
Los residuos de órganos que hemos encontrado son similares a los humanos.
Yes, the remnants of the organs are similar to those of humans.
Right, and obviously the most obvious difference is the 3 digits on the feet and the hands.
The 3 fingers and feet and hands, the form of the head, the skull, and the eyes.
How much larger than a conventional human infant's head is that head?
Ah, es que no.
When we do the tomographic study, we cannot easily compare it with that of humans because it doesn't fit with the human conventional measurement.
Is the brain the normal shape of a human brain?
No, lo que se encuentra.
No, what can be seen are residues of the desiccated brain inside.
Now, I'm really struck by the similarity between this head and the eyes and what is often described about non-human beings by people who've had alleged experiences with non-human intelligences. You know, don't you think, JP, it looks a bit like the grey head, doesn't it?
It certainly does.
What is the name of this next being?
Sebastián.
Oh yeah, look at that. Wow.
Beautiful aesthetically too, you know? I appreciate it.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Is there any medical evidence or suggestion that there were covers that would have covered those eye slits that are at a very sort of sharp 45-degree angle?
No. Si ves las órbitas.
The human eye sockets are not as wide as.
These are very large.
So whatever this is, it had wider eye sockets and apparently larger eyes than a normal human.
Because the reason I asked about the covers is because what a lot of experiencers talk about is the fact that they have very large black.
That's exactly where I was going.
Black eyes, and I'm wondering whether these were there were pupils inside of these slits, but there was some form of protection.
Yeah, pero no hay forma.
Right now, there's no way to make that analogy because that kind of tissue would become almost like a
Pero
dust.
me gustaría que veas esa imagen de allí.
Yeah. But it really does.
I expected that answer, but I have to ask the question.
You know, it does. It does beg the question. I mean, what I find uncanny about this is if you look at the description of the conventional grey alien being, they have these gigantic eyes.
Exactly.
The enlarged, elongated head. It's quite chilling to see something like this here. What implants are there inside this being that you can tell us about?
Implantes.
El de acá, si lo ves,
The one on the back of the head,
es este,
the back of the neck,
el que te conté que estaba en la nuca.
which in my supposition it is holding the cervical region because it has a severe trauma. You can see it also has symbols.
Really?
Yeah.
What do the symbols show? Can we see the symbols?
Yeah, you can see the symbols.
Oh my goodness.
Son cosas que no se entienden nada.
What are they? What do they show?
Por la tomografía
More implants, yeah.
tiene implantes, pero nosotros
Okay. And we do not want to get rid of the dust, of this powder, of the diatomaceous earth. It's preserving the DNA.
Sure.
So we haven't, cleansed it.
But just so I'm clear, based on the DNA tests done on Maria, if Maria is 1800 years old, this being is at least 1800 years old.
nuestra civilización no.
Not our civilization.
I mean, it suggests, doesn't it, that there was a prior, potentially non-human civilization.
Nuestra civilización no manejaba el osmio como hemos encontrado en los implantes en otros.
Our civilization did not use osmium as in the implants that we have found in the other.
Osmium was a relatively modern discovery compared to the dating of this.
Modern and very rare.
Yes.
You need tons of aluminum ore to get a little bit of osmium.
It's intriguing. What a mystery.
Look at the tips of the fingers. La punta de los dedos.
Sí, en la puntita de los dedos.
The digital imprints are there.
The fingerprints.
Yeah.
Yeah.
De todos estos cuerpos son transversales.
So they don't have human fingerprints at all, they're just flat lines.
90 degrees to the rest of the fingers.
Wow. I'm ready. I'm excited to see Montserrat. Much bigger. She is protecting her baby.
Sí, exacto.
Yeah.
Y se ha muerto.
She has a wound in the thorax that exsanguinated her and killed her.
Y su corazón está colapsado.
And her heart collapsed.
Do you believe she
En
was...
todos los demás cuerpos encontramos el corazón no colapsado. Encontramos el
All the
corazón.
other bodies have their regular sized heart not collapsed.
Do you believe she was murdered?
Sí, claro.
Yes, of course.
She was murdered.
Sí. Y pensamos que han querido matar al bebé.
And we thought that maybe they also tried to kill the baby.
Porque ingresa por acá en la lesión.
There's an angle of the wound that goes into her body towards the fetus, but it did. So we think that they tried to kill the fetus.
Oh, that's terrible.
But they didn't reach the placenta.
And so, doctor, that when we say the fetus, obviously we've seen stories of others of these beings having eggs. How is this baby stored inside the woman's body?
No. Estos humanoides,
Totally
ninguno
humanoid, yeah.
tiene huevos.
So there's a womb.
None of the humanoid types have eggs.
Los de la otra especie, que son de los reptilianos, sí tienen huevos, todos.
But the other species, which is reptilian, they all do have eggs.
And so this hole here, does it indicate she had been wounded previously?
Este hueco aquí en la frente indica que ha sido herida ahí.
No, no es un hueco, es un implante.
No, it's not a hole, it's an implant.
It's been grafted.
And what's the purpose of the implant?
Es un metal.
¿Cuál sería el propósito del implante?
Desconocemos.
We don't know.
Pero tiene 14, ¿no?
We have a second implant here.
Tiene 10 implantes.
She has 10 implants.
10 implants.
Sí, 10 implantes.
What tests need to be done to confirm that this being is an entirely new species?
Paleo-ADN.
Paleo-DNA.
Paleo-DNA. And what does that mean? What is paleo-DNA?
¿Qué significa paleo-ADN?
Es el ADN.
Unlike the regular sequences done for understanding the paternity or maternity of regular cases, in this case, we need the complete sequencing.
The elongated skull, are you able to show conclusively that that is not a result of artificial elongation?
Puede determinar. Yes, completely.
You're very sure?
Completamente.
Yes, completely sure.
And similarly with the tridactyl limbs, there is no possibility that they are just excised thumb. I mean, I don't understand how a being with only 3 fingers could have manipulated things without a reverse thumb joint.
There's no need for it, he says, because of the length of the fingers.
Envuelven.
They're able to unfold things.
Envuelven. Tienen los dedos más largos, ellos envuelven así.
They're longer.
No ponen.
They are longer fingers and they can. Yeah.
Doctor, do you think we are looking at a completely different advanced species, humanoid species, that once existed on this planet?
Claro que existió. Ahí está.
Yes, of course it existed. There it is.
Ahí está que existió.
But I'm trying to think of a reason why it cannot be. You know, obviously, my job is to be skeptical, but I am having trouble finding reasons to be skeptical. You do not believe that this is some kind of constructed object?
Definitivamente no es construido.
Definitely it was not built.
And here's where scientific opinion divides. Recent new expert analysis suggests that scans of some of these bodies do show signs of a possible hoax, tampering, that they are perhaps human remains with digits excised and bones inserted. These claims are hotly disputed by the Peruvian scientists we interviewed, and if these are a hoax, I strongly doubt any of the scientists and researchers we interviewed are a party to any alleged deceit.
Y te voy a decir por qué me gusta este objeto especialmente.
And I'm going to tell you why I like this body in particular.
Porque tiene un tridáctilo dentro de su vientre.
Because it has a tridactyl inside its womb.
So how do you fake that?
Sí, y eso cómo se podría hackear, ¿no?
La prueba definitiva lo llamamos.
Por eso le llamamos la prueba definitiva.
Yeah, that's why we call her the definitive proof.
What is the reaction of the Peruvian government to this discovery? This is huge.
Ninguna.
None.
Ninguna.
But, I mean, could this be a non-human species that has come from another planet, that was just here on our planet?
No sé.
I don't know.
Don't know. We just don't know. So, JP, my mind is blown. I don't know about yours.
I feel absolutely exhausted because of the volume of information that was shared, the intensity of the interactions that were going on in the room, and just the fact that you see these, the fact that the bodies are so unusual, but these beautiful gold implants
Absolutely.
appearing over the forehead where the pineal gland would be.
Absolutely. I think that my takeaway is I was expecting, to be honest with you, to find a reason to be skeptical. But I, for the life of me, can't find any reason to think that they are artificial constructed dolls or some kind of constructed object of any kind.
I agree, and I think I'm also convinced that the medical team or the scientists behind this are absolutely acting in good faith.
Oh yeah,
they are genuine.
Yeah,
they are open about what they do not know and what needs to be done, where there needs to be more CAT scans.
Well, they're acknowledging. I mean, obviously we can't be definitive at this stage with those objects, but he's saying yes, we need to do paleo DNA testing. But when you look at the evidence, you go, well. I mean, there is no evidence there of any kind of constructed anatomy. That's not something that somebody's
sophisticated.
It's not been bolted together
Look
by
at
somebody.
Montserrat. Montserrat is apparently a tridactyl being that may or may not be a hybrid of some kind.
Sure.
And she has a tridactyl embryo or baby fetus inside of her.
Yeah, and the drama of that story too, I find it quite touching. This poor female being clearly murdered in an effort to kill her and her baby. It's so tragic, and yet we don't know anything about why this happened. We don't even know what she is.
Who they are.
But the mind-blowing implications for me are, there is a highly advanced species that is completely unknown on this planet, that if Maria DNA is correct, was constructed by another species entirely that hybridized that being from humans.
Doesn't it put into question, though, the whole idea of what is indigenous and what is not indigenous to the planet of Earth?
Yeah. Did you have the feeling that we might be looking at a grey alien?
It looked like one, and I just had this impression that as per all the the data, the experiencer data and drawings and impressions, that you have these massive black eyes, but what we saw were the sockets.
Yeah.
No covers, but just these enormous 45-degree angle slits where pupils would have been. And
yeah, no,
I'm speechless.
I must confess, I'm still kind of
soaking it in,
mind-boggled by what we just saw, because
integrating it all.
Journalistically, I feel the need to be rigorously skeptical. I can't think of any reason to be, though, because I'm not a scientist. I mean, I'm hoping that these beings will be put to peer review, and that's what we're hoping to enable with a certain professor who's interested in doing tests. I just hope that it's possible to investigate these beings enough to be able to resolve what they are and where they came from. We're on our way to meet up with Thierry Yamin, because he's brought in the dead of night. They've brought the 10 bodies we're going to be allowed to see from a secure location. Apparently they've arrived at midnight. It's all very cloak and dagger, and we're in our car again on our way to see what Thierry has intriguingly described as different species of beings. Believe it or not, I mean, this is taking a bit of a believing for me, I have to admit, but he's described beings with tails and even an insectoid being. Can you believe it? Let's wait and see. We're here, and if you believe Tiri Yaman, we're about to see 10 bodies, including reptilians with tails and insectoid beings. Can't quite believe it, JP. You better get off the road.
Seeing is believing.
Good morning, buenos dias. Hey, Cheeky.
Hola, Mar.
Good to see you.
Igualmente. Bienvenido. Welcome.
Welcome. Seems like every house has a laboratory.
Yes.
So, where are the bodies?
Où sont les cadavres?
On les attend, ils vont arriver.
Ah.
Non, je blague.
He said, "Don't worry, they're coming in a minute." I'm joking. They're here.
On va se mettre blouse.
We're going to put on a, protective.
Oh, sure. Okay.
Les gants, les masques.
Absolutely.
Tout à fait.
It's an amazing thought that I may be holding in my hand the tridactyl hand of a being that lived 6,000 years ago. It's quite extraordinary. Let's talk about how you came to discover and hear about what we call the mummies.
Alors, en fait, ce sont les Huaqueros qui, en 2016, ont entendu parler de l'Institut Incaré. Et pourquoi ils ont entendu parler de l'Institut Incaré? Parce que quelques années auparavant, on avait fait une découverte très importante à Machu Picchu et beaucoup de médias au niveau national et international, Forbes, National Geo avait parlé de cela. On avait donc parlé de l'Institut Incaré et de nos recherches.
So the Huaqueros, the tomb raiders, actually came to us because they'd heard about this potential discovery that we'd made at Machu Picchu. So they were talking about us already. Then they came to us.
Et donc, en octobre 2016, un ami de Mario, le découvreur du site, est venu me rendre visite à Cusco avec du matériel pour savoir ce que l'on en pensait, si ça pouvait être authentique ou pas, et si on pouvait les aider à faire connaître la découverte.
In October of 2016, one of the friends that discovered the site of Mario's came to us here in Cusco with potentially biological material, and asked us to take a look because he thought there was something unusual about it.
Can I just clarify, there's been carbon dating showing 6,000 years old, and you said also there had been DNA testing. What did the DNA testing show? Was there any human DNA in this?
Yes, à l'université de Lockheed au Canada, ils ont fait des analyses ADN. C'était un peu compliqué parce que l'ADN était très détérioré. Et pour eux, c'est 100% humain.
So the University of Lockheed in Canada did an analysis on this, but the problem is that the quality of the DNA has degraded over time.
Up to 6,000 years.
And due to contamination or the degradation of it, they said it was 100% human.
Si.
They said it was 100% human?
Yeah.
How can that be human?
C'est le résultat des analyses.
That's what the analysis says.
What do you think was the purpose of the implants? Do you think they were just decorative?
Bon, non, moi je ne suis pas spécialiste, but on a l'impression que c'est quelque chose de tactile.
He's not a specialist, it's obviously not his place to say why or how, but he has the impression that it was to be touched, tactile operation of some kind.
Oh, right, yeah, maybe, okay.
I don't know.
Wow, that is mind-blowing. We may be looking, JP, at something that was highly advanced. I mean, it had the intelligence to be able to put an implant on a hand that lived 6,000 years ago on this planet.
Potentially, it isn't simply about beings that lived thousands of years ago. We've spoken to an indigenous man from Inca heritage, and he says that he's seen them in the Peruvian jungle.
So who is this?
Se llama Earl.
Oh.
C'est la momie dont on a une photo au moment où Mario l'a découverte.
Ah oui. So this is the mummy where we have the photograph at the very moment that Mario, the Vaquero, discovered this item.
So
Et
a photograph inside the cave.
À l'intérieur
Oui.
du caverne.
Oui.
Yes.
Et on voit comme un tunnel de mine, il y a des poutres qui barrent la vision de son téléphone. Et elle avait des habits. Elle avait comme un bonnet, etc. Ce qu'on peut voir dans la vidéo.
So he's saying that, you know, it's basically like a system like a mine, and these sort of cavities inside, which made it very difficult to photograph. But Earl actually had a head covering, a cloth, de textile.
Oui.
A textile type head covering when it was discovered.
Is there any implants?
Non, non. Et on lui a enlevé le cerveau et on lui a ouvert le sternum, on lui a retiré les entrailles, le poumon, etc.
De ce spécimen?
Oui, donc elle n'a pas de cerveau.
They removed the brain and the intestines.
Elle n'a plus de cœur ni de poumon.
So there's no heart, there's no.
Et
il y avait bien des organes.
Pardon?
Mais il y avait des organes.
Oui, mais ils lui ont enlevé, on ne sait pas pourquoi.
C'est qui? Oui, Mario?
Non, Mario, il l'a pas touché.
Non, les gens,
à l'époque.
So what he's saying is that these organs were removed apparently at the time of burial.
Peut-être qu'elle a été sacrifiée, on ne sait pas.
It was sacrificed.
Et ce qui est intéressant, c'est que la main qui est à l'intérieur, tu sais, la main là, elle est il est très abîmé, cette momie. La momie est très abîmée.
So this mummy is
Et
badly
donc,
damaged, and the left hand is.
il est pratiquement impossible que ce soit un fake. Parce que dans les tomographies, on voit que les os sont cassés, elle est en très mauvais état.
Based on the tomographic scan, it seems to Thierry that it would be almost impossible to fake this because the bones are shattered and damaged.
Okay, so what blows me away is I am being overwhelmed in the last couple of years since I started talking about different alleged alien beings. And many of the accounts that I receive describe enormous heads with eyes that go up in slits like that and very deep, wide eye sockets. Are we looking at a being that has presented itself to humans in the contemporary world? Is this a forebear of non-human intelligences that are still engaging with this planet? You believe you have discovered non-human intelligent beings.
Mario a fait cette découverte.
Mario discovered them.
Nous, on a juste été des intermédiaires qui ont permis de le révéler au public.
What is the basis upon which you believe they are intelligent beings, advanced technology?
Pour moi, la science parle et les analyses ADN montrent que ce ne peut pas être une falsification. Les empreintes digitales montrent que ça ne peut pas être des falsifications. La présence d'implants, d'objets en métal sur une grande partie de ces spécimens montre que ça ne peut pas être une falsification.
Why? Because to me, science speaks. The DNA says that there are aspects that are non-human and unidentified. There are implants in some of these specimens that are completely unexplained and beyond the capacity of faking them.
Is it possible that whoever did the implants, though, was someone else, something else? Is it possible that these animals, these beings, were created by somebody highly advanced, but they were some kind of experiment?
Oui, c'est ce que l'on pense à l'Institut Incaré. Ce ne sont pas des extraterrestres, ces momies, mais c'est le produit, peut-être, c'est une hypothèse, d'expérimentation que le Pérou a connu sur une longue période, parce qu'on a l'impression que les Péruviens de cette époque, de l'époque Paracas et Nazca, ont été en contact avec un peuple venu d'ailleurs. Mais on parle d'une expérience de plus de 1000 ans et qui continue peut-être aujourd'hui encore.
Yes, that's what we at the Inkari Institute believe on a speculative basis, that these are probably the result of an experimentation, of hybridization, because the culture of Nazca speaks about having contact with these other non-human intelligences, and there is a logic to this.
This is the insectoid?
Is this the insectoid?
C'est celui-là que l'on voit en Australie sur les peintures
This is the one
rupestres.
that's depicted on the artwork in Australia.
Oh my goodness.
Wow. You can see the wings. Il y en a encore aussi.
Il en a 13.
There's 13 implants on this being, or this object.
13?
Yeah, you can see the gold.
Et il a 3 œufs à l'intérieur.
3 eggs are inside the abdomen, according to the...
Et tu te demandes comment un truc comme ça, si c'est authentique, comment ça pouvait respirer? Parce qu'il n'y a pas de côte, donc il n'y a pas de poumons.
How could a being of this size even breathe, being the size that it is?
Those are wings?
Ce sont des ailes.
On dirait.
We would say,
Mais,
they probably are.
mais moi je me demande si c'était pas un moyen de communication comme certains insectes, tu sais les grillons.
But he thinks perhaps instead of being used for flight, they could have been used for communication instead.
I mean, it's a preposterous... My instinct is to think, and I mean no disrespect, but my instinct is to think it must be fabricated because it looks like a composite.
Mm-hmm.
The feet are so huge.
Yes.
This an implant?
Si, yes, si.
Lord.
Oh my word.
I mean,
talk about stereotype.
That's E.T.
Yes. My word.
Avec Maria, Josefina, c'est la star des momies de Nazca.
So Thierry says that Josefina is the star of all the Nazca bodies that have been found. Détail ici.
Et là, elle descend la diatomée. On l'a nettoyé. Enfin, c'est Cliff Miles, le paléontologue, qui l'a nettoyé à la diatomée.
Cliff Miles, the paleontologist, actually cleaned Josefina up. This is why it looks so.
Et Cliff a vu que, en fait, la couleur marron, elle est pas. C'est un produit qu'elle a.
So the brown in coloring is not the natural color of the body. It's
comme
un
bitume, comme un
the
bitume.
solvent or the chemical that was used to clean it up.
She was pregnant?
Elle était enceinte, yes.
Oui.
And I guess this is the osmium implant.
Si.
So osmium's one of the world's rarest and most expensive metals, and there is a band of osmium embedded into her flesh at the top of her chest.
How many $1,000 per gram?
Oh, it was some ridiculous amount.
An enormous amount. At a time where it hadn't even been discovered according to human history.
Do we know how... Oh, here we go. There's the radiology scan. So this is Josephina.
Yeah. Si. Yeah.
What do we know? Has she had DNA carbon dating?
Non. On a juste fait des analyses.
No, she's had no test on it. Victoria, the object that we saw in Ica, that has had the DNA.
Une autre.
Yes. Là, c'est Paul. Et ce qui est intéressant dans ce spécimen, c'est que on voit la peau.
So this specimen is called Paul, and what's interesting about it is that we can see the skin.
Ouais. On voit bien la. On voit la texture de la peau.
We can see the texture of the skin.
Oh my goodness me.
Et pareil, il a été enduit d'un bitume.
So he is
un peu comme les Égyptiens mettaient du natron. Après, ils mettaient un bandage. Le bandage, c'est un peu la diatomée. On peut presque faire une comparaison dans le processus de...
So in fact, he's comparing the preservation, thanks to the diatomaceous earth, as comparable to how the Egyptians preserved bodies.
So, is there a scan, an internal scan of this being?
Est-ce qu'on a fait un écran, un scan
Oui.
de l'intérieur?
Oui.
Yes.
And can we see that?
Le scanner radio ou scanner?
Qu'est-ce que vous en avez?
X-ray.
X-ray ici.
Ouais.
I mean, look, I suppose at a stretch, you could construct this object superficially with a 3D printer or something, and
that was something I thought of, but apparently it's not doable.
But I don't know how you would recreate the internal sinews, tendons, muscles, organs. I mean, if it is a hoax, it's an incredible hoax, and I don't know for what benefit it would be a hoax.
No. It would be the most advanced 3D scanner in the world.
It'd be amazing.
Or not of this world.
I don't understand why the Peruvian government and certain debunker scientists would be just peremptorily dismissing these objects and saying, without investigating, they're just fake, they're fabricated. These must be investigated. They must be analysed by independent peer-review scientists to see whether there's any basis to the possibility that these are non-human, intelligent, advanced beings that existed on this planet. That's the implication.
That was pretty powerful.
That's amazing.
The resonance.
Amazing. That's quite something.
That surprised me, actually.
Yeah. It actually resonates. He's right, it resonates. It's just like the one we went to in Egypt. It's the same thing. So two separate civilizations discovered the ability to use stone to tune into frequencies in different parts of the world. We really are going deep into the Andean mountains. You can see why Machu Picchu stayed hidden for so long. They say the Spanish never found Machu Picchu during their colonization of Peru, and you can see why. To get there, you crawl for many, many miles through what is precipitous mountainous country deep into the Andes. It's an amazing journey. I'm doing it in the lap of luxury by train and then by bus. We're on the bus now, rattling our way along a dirt road up to Machu Picchu. But I take my hat off to Hiram Bingham and all the other adventurous explorers that hacked their way through this deep Andean jungle, probably walking for days or sitting on the back of a donkey, making their way to this lost temple at the top of a hill, Machu Picchu. Very exciting to be on my way there. Finally, we're here in the lost temple of Machu Picchu, incredibly high up in the hills of the Andes. It's quite breathtaking here. Have a look at this. We're walking down into the area of the megalithic site that sits slap bang in the middle of Machu Picchu. And yet again, haha, more steps. So this is the entrance to the city. We're now inside the ancient city of Machu Picchu. The air is actually quite thin up here. So in between composing a sentence, I'm gasping for breath. Just the scale of this place is mind-blowing. Whoever built the megalithic ruins here obviously recognised it as well. You could hide here. Nobody would know you were here. And funnily enough, the Spanish had no idea, absolutely no idea the Incans had hid out here. Well, the takeaway I have, most of all, from Machu Picchu is just how little we know about its origins. Just like Egypt, I mean, there are these gigantic blocks of stone, 50, 100, 150 tons, that have been pulled up these magnificent hills by someone. Thousands, possibly tens of thousands of years ago. And we have absolutely no explanation for how these buildings were built, what they were built for. And the official explanation, of course, is that they were built by the Incans, and yet even many of the Incans say that's an extremely implausible explanation. Well, all I can say, it's a privilege to be here, and what an exciting day. Machu Picchu, what a splendid place. This is Ollantaytambo, which is one of the great sites from the Incan history, but of course, like just about everything else in Peru, it's built on top of megalithic ruins, the provenance of which nobody has any idea when they were built, what they were built for. And much of this is Inca apparently, but way up the top there, we're going to go and have a look at some rocks right at the top of the hill, which are perfectly bonded and inexplicably gigantically large blocks of andesite granite, which have been cut very, very precisely to the extent that you can't even insert a playing card between the faces of the granite. I mean, it's an architectural mystery sitting in plain sight.
For me, this is the epicenter of the mystery of this incredible place.
You can just get a piece of paper in between the two blocks.
But the question is, does money come out?
That's quite something.
That's amazing.
That was pretty. That's amazing. Absolutely amazing. That's quite something.
That surprised me, actually.
Yeah, it actually resonates. He's right, it resonates. It's just like the one we went to in Egypt. It's the same thing. So two separate civilizations discovered the ability to use stone to tune into frequencies in different parts of the world. I love it. Okay, JP, come on in. It's just like the Saqqara temple in Egypt that we visited a year ago, isn't it, JP?
It's very similar in that there's a space for, to put your head in and experience some sort of resonance. But in Egypt, you can actually hear the tone.
You could feel the energy.
Yeah, we're talking about the so-called sound temple outside of Saqqara, right next to the step pyramid of Djoser, as it's so called, probably a misnomer.
It's lovely watching. It's lovely watching everybody's reaction.
You've set a trend, Ross.
I mean, it gives you quite a buzz tapping into this because it feels quite mystical doing it.
Yeah.
We're on our way to a place called Naupa Huaca, which sadly is way up there. One hell of a climb. About 3,000 meters above sea level here, and you can feel the lack of oxygen. can barely talk. So the real purpose of this place is lost in history. It's, according to Brian Foster, it's pre-Inca. In fact, he believes it dates back to the time of the Younger Dryas, which is 12,500 years ago, well before any human civilization was known to exist on the planet. And if you look at this astonishing art rockwork here, it's cutting into the granite in ways that defies explanation. You would have needed diamond-tipped saws to cut that kind of incredibly dense granite. And nobody really has any explanation for how it was cut the way it is, such precise 90-degree angles. And also nobody has any idea what it was for, but the speculation is it's some kind of portal. Just like so many of these beautiful megalithic ruins in Peru, they're an eternal mystery. I don't know if it's lack of oxygen, but I am certainly feeling an energy that I don't normally feel when I'm walking around a megalithic ruin. There really is a pulse and energy to this place. It's quite extraordinary. And it's also quite beautiful. It's a loving feeling. After seeing these so-called tridactyl mummy remains for myself in Peru, how do we balance the, I think, quite sincere belief of the scientists on the ground there in Peru that these are authentic remains with the legitimate concerns that have been raised by experts and scientists from overseas? How can this be resolved? Well, for starters, I don't think it was ever justifiable that heritage remains, especially if they contained human remains, were ever taken out of Peru. That's just disgraceful. This is Peruvian heritage and it should stay there. And what I like is the work that's being done by the University of Ica scientists, who do appear to genuinely want peer-reviewed research and support to investigate these tridactyl remains, if that's what they are. They're happy to see a peer-reviewed study to assess whether these objects are indeed authentic, and that's what I think should happen. I'm not a scientist, but there has to be a way of definitively resolving whether these remains are authentic or not. What we have at the moment is two different sets of experts bickering with each other, arguing about their authenticity. The Ica University team want and support the idea of an internationally peer-reviewed study fully funded to assess once and for all whether these objects are authentic or whether they're hoaxes. I also think that Peru's Ministry of Culture shouldn't be allowed to intervene and try and take these remains from a legitimate scientific investigation. They perhaps also should have some oversight so they can feel comfortable about the study. But what I don't think should happen is that ufologists and journalists shouldn't be making the final say. This investigation needs to be run by independent, eminent scientists, not by ufologists or journalists. It's a disaster, frankly, that if there really was a recovery of these desiccated remains in 2015, that it was made by grave robbers, criminals rather than eminent archaeologists. We still don't know the location where these remains were supposedly found, and I think that puts a big red flag over any efforts to try and assert the authenticity or fraudulent nature of these remains. We need to find out where these remains came from. I don't know why the acknowledged criminal who supposedly recovered these remains from a secret location somewhere near the Nazca Desert hasn't been criminally prosecuted for hindering investigations into where these remains came from. He's apparently refusing to reveal that location. So you've got a criminal who's trying to make money out of what some people are asserting are recovered human remains from ancient burial sites. That is a criminal offence under Peruvian law, and he should be criminally prosecuted if he fails to heed the law to help people find that location. Ultimately, we should be trusting in good peer-reviewed science to resolve this matter once and for all, and that hasn't happened yet.